Welcome to Morning Tea and Manifesting. I'm Sonia, and I like to talk about manifestation from my own personal experience. In this video, I want to talk about intuition, inspired action, and taking action when you are manifesting. But before I start talking about that, I want to talk about a comment that I got yesterday. And this comment is exactly what I was hoping people would experience if they followed Learn to Manifest. Learn to Manifest is a playlist I have here on YouTube. It is if I could go back and teach myself how to manifest, this is how I would do it. And the reason I structured that the way that I did is I personally believe that where you get the most benefit when you are manifesting, learning to manifest, understanding what is all going on. I really don't like that terminology, but a lot of you, that's the only way that you're going to understand what I'm saying, is to do it and apply it and actually commit yourself to changing your mindset, because that's all you're doing is learning to choose your truth. And this comment is exactly that. I've noticed that ever since I started affirming that I fully understand the law, every single thing you talk about has been making more sense to me. Even things that haven't made sense for years, it's pretty wild to watch in real time. That was my experience too. When I actually committed myself to affirmations, it didn't matter what it was. It was insane how you start to see yourself change. And I think that understanding manifesting is a big one for a lot of you guys watching my videos. If you are constantly watching manifestation content looking for answers, your thought process is that you don't have answers and you don't understand. And you're being proven right. It's a perfect manifestation. When you start telling yourself, my personal affirmation was, I know everything there is to know about manifesting and fully understand it, because telling myself I'm a master manifester I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what it meant to be a master manifester. And I'm like, I just want to know everything there is to know about it. Okay, but my brain would still fight me, and it's like, oh, and I understand it. I know everything there is to know about it and I fully understand it. And then my brain went, okay, I guess. It still fought it. It's not like I just magically believed that. I kept coming back to that. No, I understand this. I know everything there is to know about it. I fully understand it. And when I started to shift that mindset about manifesting, about affirmations, about anything involved in doing this, guess what? It started to make sense, and I started to understand it on a different level, because I was choosing to understand and not constantly be looking for answers that I didn't think were there. Maybe this video I'll understand. Maybe that video I'll understand. Maybe this video I'll understand. I started to understand when I decided I understood, and then allowed that shift to take place. And you will start to see it happening, some, not all the time, but some of the time. You'll start to go, man, that's like, you'll have this experience where it's like, man, every time I watch a new video, it makes more sense. The times where you're not seeing that shift happening, you really need to pay attention to what you're telling yourself all the time and make sure that you're coming back to what you want to be true instead of bullshit. You're always going to be proven right in what you keep coming back to. What are you coming back to the most? When you start to change that, you will start to see how that changes in your world. But the only way to do that is to stay committed to that change. The reason I structured Learn to Manifest the way that I did, by you first getting in touch with your imagination so you understand what your internal world even is, and then the first set of affirmations is about believing and manifesting, is exactly for this reason. I didn't want anybody building on that. And if I could go back, I wish I wouldn't have tried to build on working, using manifesting, even though you're always manifesting. You just don't understand that yet. Choose that you believe in it and choose that you understand it. And your experience with it is going to be a lot different than it is right now. But the only way you can have that change happen is to do it and experience it for yourself. And by having those experiences, which is what I did 2 years ago as a course playlist thing on here, I called it Create Your Manifestation Lifestyle. Let's manifest something we don't care about. So then we can use the information that we gathered from there and what worked for us because we did it, we chose something and we got it and it happened. How did I do that and how can I compare that to other times in my life where it wasn't working the way I wanted it to? This was exactly my experience, especially with telling myself that I understand the law. I kept myself stuck not being able to understand manifesting and constantly looking for answers until I decided that I have those answers and I no longer need to look for them. I fully understand this. I know everything there is to know about manifesting and fully understand it. Yeah, no, I understand it. It makes sense to me. Keep coming back to that and watch it change just like anything else. So, yeah, let me know if you guys have had that experience with stuff or if you have noticed a difference by telling yourself that you believe in the law. Because I know for me that believing in I believe in this. I had to choose that. I had to choose that I understood it. I had to choose that I understood how to word affirmations. I had to start paying attention to where I was struggling or having problems with and make a different choice about it. And the more you do that with anything and get good at doing it in one area of your life, you're going to start doing it in others because you're going to realize, oh, I can make a choice about this. And that's why I feel the base of this is presence awareness choice. Bring yourself back to the present moment, become aware of what you're thinking, and make a choice about it. Do I want to keep thinking this or do I want to think something else? But that takes practice in doing it. And then all of a sudden, you'll just do it without thinking about it because that's just how you function in the world. You know you have a choice and you come back to it. But that ability to do it again comes from practice and experiencing it happening. So, anyway, moving on. I wanted to talk about intuition, inspired action, and taking action when you're manifesting. I feel like this all kind of weaves together. The wanting to talk about intuition came from one of my made by AI, not by experience videos that I did recently, where it was one of the things it was telling me to tell people to do when manifesting something. I can't remember if it was the SP one or the robotic affirmation one, but it was like learn to follow your intuition. I don't like the word intuition. I think that it is kind of tainted, just like manifestation. I don't like that word either, but I don't have another thing to call it, and that's what people know it as. When I first found manifesting, I was in a really, really bad place and wanted my life to be better. And I found law of attraction. I was learning all the things that they're talking about in there, and part of what they were talking about at some point is intuition. And remember, at that point, I thought all of this was very woo woo and kind of crazy, but I was desperate for things to change and was like, why not? Why not? And I went on a whole just like with manifesting and needing to understand manifesting, I went on a whole thing trying to connect with my intuition and learn about my intuition, and I watched all the videos on intuition. And I don't believe that what is being taught by most people, not all people, but most people on social media about intuition is correct. I don't think they understand what they are talking about, just like a lot of people don't understand what they are talking about when it comes to manifesting. I personally think it comes from a lack of self awareness. They don't fully understand what is going on and or are just regurgitating shit from books that they read and think they understand, but they don't. You you have intuition. You have feelings and thoughts about things. It's part of your internal world. And that's why I started Learn to Manifest with that, so that you start to understand you and how you think and how you view the world. And your intuition is a part of that. Your intuition is what is telling you about your needs and your wants. And when you ignore those things and are willing to sacrifice for whatever reason that you're doing these things, that ultimately has an impact on what you experience moving forward. So let's say I don't know, you want to work nights and you're looking for a job working nights, but you get this really good, like that's really important to you that you work nights, but you get this really amazing job opportunity to work days, but you're going to make triple the money. And you're like, I mean, I guess working nights isn't that important to me, even though inside you're like, I need to work nights. I only want to work nights. Yeah, but from a logical perspective, it would be stupid to not take this day job that I'm going to make 3 times the money. That's you not listening to your intuition. That's you not listening to your own needs and desires. So when you take that job and you end up not being happy, there's no one to blame but you. You knew what you wanted and you denied yourself that because logically that's a better opportunity. I should do that instead. I think that part of why people don't want to speak on this authentically and truthfully is because it comes across as to a lot of people as narcissistic and self-centered type of behavior to think about your own needs and desires and attain them for yourself. But here's the thing, without you taking care of yourself, no one is going to do that for you. If your desire is to work nights and then you take a day job, that's your problem. You could have not applied to day jobs. You could have not accepted that day job, but you did, and now you're miserable. And now you're making everyone else happy or whatever happy that you felt that you needed to go after that job instead of the one that you would have wanted. That would have made you happy. Whose fault is that? Yours. You did not follow your intuition toward what you wanted so that your needs and desires would be fulfilled. That's your intuition. It is coming back to inside of you and kind of feeling out, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, which option is the one that I want to go with. If you have two options, you're contemplating two options. You obviously think that both options are viable options that are possible things that you would want to do, or you wouldn't be trying to decide between the two of them. Instead of only looking at the pros and cons from a logical outside world perspective, it's about going within you and feeling out which one feels better to you. Which one makes you go, yeah, I think I want to go with that one. Even if it isn't the logical explanation, the logical decision. I don't know who this woman is, but she is a Harvard professor that talks about decision making. I've seen a few shorts that she's been in, and I don't know what her name is, but she changed the way that I looked at decision making and made me kind of, she wasn't talking about intuition, but made me look at my intuition differently. She was talking about how it doesn't matter what you're deciding, all decisions are the same. Whether you're deciding to eat one candy bar or a different candy bar, or have this for dinner or that for dinner, or get married or not get married, or go to this college or this college. All decisions, no matter how big, are the same. We do not know what the outcome is going to be. And when you make a decision in the moment, feeling and choosing that it is the best decision for you, where we then have a problem is if we have a bad experience, we look back and be like, oh, I made the wrong decision. I was wrong in my thought process, or something was wrong. That would have been better. She used the example of going to college. You get into Harvard and Yale, and you decide to go to Harvard and you have a horrible experience. Your automatic assumption is that I would have had a better time if I went to Yale. But there's no way of knowing that for sure. What if you did make the right decision and you would have had an even worse experience at Yale? You can't know that. In my experience, becoming a manifester, I hate that term so much, but becoming someone who is aware of their thoughts and aware of themselves makes you look at life completely differently. I'm not going to ignore pros and cons that I'm seeing from my outside world, but if my internal world is screaming at me, don't go to Yale, I'm going to listen to that. That right there is your intuition. You've experienced it before. And the more that you follow and trust that, you will understand it more, just like you understand choosing your thoughts. You are either going to allow yourself to flow in the world the way you want to, or you're not. And this is where inspired action and taking action is a byproduct, again, of your mindset. All starts with your mindset. You are not going to know what was inspired and what was uninspired, and how it, like, none of that is something that you need to worry yourself about. In the moment, you need to bring yourself back to what you want to be true and make decisions from the place of, I'm going to get where I want to go and I can trust myself to get there. Your intuition isn't this like magical, mystical thing that you have to get in touch with. You're in touch with it right now. You just might ignore it more than you should. For me, I had one specific experience that I always go back to that completely changed my connection, I guess, with what I would call my intuition. When I was in my law of attraction days, I had a law of attraction coach, and she wanted me to coach with her. She wanted to teach me to coach and be a coach with her. And at first I was like, this is amazing. This is so exciting. Of course I want to do this. And then it's like, no, don't do this. Don't. There was that feeling of, and then some other stuff happened, and the alarm bells were just screaming at me, do not do this, do not do this, do not do this. And from a logical perspective, it made absolutely no sense for me to say no. But I said no because the feeling was, I could not say yes. I'm like, something is not right. And it was years later that I realized and found out why. And I was correct in that, trusting that feeling. I don't believe that your intuition is going to lead you to doing crazy shit. Because I believe that all that exists is the present moment. The more you can bring yourself back to the present moment and take care of yourself right now, the better off you are going to be. So if you need to go to therapy, or you need to get a job, or you need to get your car fixed, or you need to whatever, the more you can just take care of things in the way that you need to take care of them and focus on bringing your mindset back, the intuition stuff follows, the inspired action follows. Any action you need to do is going to come as a result of the ideas you have because of your mindset. If you're constantly telling yourself that you can't do this, it's impossible, you're never even going to try, let alone accept any thoughts or ideas that come from the place of you getting what you want. The ideas could be coming to you like crazy, but because you have deemed it impossible for yourself, you're never going to even try. That's where I think the most important thing is to always come back to your mindset. What are you accepting as true? The rest follows. But you have to experience that change in your mindset for yourself. And if I could go back, I would start with my belief in manifesting. And that's why I did learn to manifest, starting you there. When you dedicate yourself to bringing yourself back to a set of affirmations, and you do that over weeks, months, years, whatever, you stick to it. That is how you see the change. And I'm not saying it's going to take years for things to change, but I think what a lot of you lack understanding in is, if you had what you want, say you want a house, if you buy a house, you don't move into that house and then assume it's not your house. If you get married and you're married, you're not going, I don't know if I'm married. Maybe I'm not married. Like, what are you doing? If you want something, you can have it. And by deciding that you can have it and bringing yourself back to the mindset of the person who it's possible for, the rest will fall into place, because it'll start to feel like, okay, maybe it is possible. Oh, look, I am getting movement toward that. Oh, look, this is happening. So it is possible. But if you never allow yourself the opportunity to change and to try, you're keeping yourself stuck. And by feeling like you need to connect to your intuition, and there's a reason that Neville Goddard didn't talk a lot about that. He fully believed that the rest was going to just take care of itself. And in my experience, it is, because even if you make a quote unquote wrong decision, how do you know it was the wrong decision? Through the assumption that you're making in the moment. Presence, awareness, choice. I made the wrong decision. You're right. And now you get to experience how you were wrong. But if you change that and go, that decision didn't matter, make it neutral, or that was the best decision I've ever made, doesn't matter, that experience has to change, because it was no longer the worst experience or the worst decision you ever made. It's all a choice in how you choose to view it. And if you really want to be really connected to your intuition, and that's important to you, just like understanding manifesting, bringing it back to the comment at the beginning, tell yourself you are fully connected to your intuition. And guess what? Whatever you need to be connected to your intuition, so that you know that that's who you are, will happen, because you always have to be proven right in what you keep coming back to as your truth. Thank you so much for watching. Love and light.